Hello everybody, welcome back for another session of the Hopry. My name is Mark Starr of thehopry.com, and tonight I've got a beer that I'm super excited to try. I've actually been holding on to this one for quite a while. I'm not really sure why. I guess I thought maybe a little bit of time would do this beer a little bit of good. Now of course I've not had this ever before, so I really wouldn't know if it does better over time or not. But anyway, I'm a huge fan of Scotch. You can see that I've got 3 of them out here for you today. I'm a huge peat fan, so much like I love a lot of hops and a lot of dark roasted malts in imperial stouts, I tend to like Scotch that really has a lot more of a smoky peaty flavor. Now if you're not familiar with peat, it's virtually impossible to explain the flavors. The only thing that I can say is that it tastes like smoky Band-Aids, and I know that may sound funny, but once you try it you'll really kind of understand what I mean. But the 3 that I've got up here are my favorites. The first one over here is the Lefroy. That's the 10-year on that one, and then also another really peaty Islay Scotch is the Lagavulin. And then over here, to me this is more of like your dad's, your father-in-law's type of Scotch, really good smooth flavor. This is the Balvenie Doublewood, and I'll tell you what, that one is probably my favorite of the 3, even as much as I like the peat. But so anyway, the reason why I share these with you is that what I'm going to be sharing with you tonight is a beer from a brewery over in Great Britain called Harviestoun. And what they've done is they've basically taken their old engine oil stout that they make, and they have aged it in 3 different barrels, 3 different age of barrels, the 12, the 16, which is what I have for you here right now, and then they also do it in a 30-year-old cask. So I read a lot of good things about the 16 out of those 3, so naturally when I was looking at those to pick up from the liquor store, I figured I'll go ahead and start with the 16. Now this one comes from Harviestoun, as I said. And the Scotch that they use the barrels from is from a distillery in the Orkney Islands, and they're called Highland Park. Now if you're not familiar with the Orkney Islands, obviously if you go to the UK and you go right north of there, that's where Scotland is. And if you look to the northeast corner of Scotland, you'll see there's a little cluster of islands, and those are the Orkney Islands. So, really excited to try this one. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and get it open and let it start to kind of breathe a little bit, because want to get that thing working. But I'm really excited to see if there is any kind of peat moss in here, any of that flavor profile that comes from a lot of Scotch in that region. Now again, Ola Dubh just basically means engine oil or black oil, and you can see why. They pour really black when you get them out of the glass. But let me go ahead and take a look at the color in detail. I know it's black, but yeah, I mean it's virtually engine oil black, all right. In terms of head, it's got the traditional imperial stout, light brown roasted hazelnut sort of head on it. But I'm going to go ahead and smell it, because I'll tell you what, I'm pretty psyched. Okay, so what I get mostly is a lot of like burnt caramel, a lot of chocolate. I do get a little bit, kind of a little bit of peat. I would say that it's so faint that if I didn't know this was aged in those barrels, I probably wouldn't have pulled those out, though. This does smell a lot like your oak-aged or bourbon barrel stout, so perhaps I would have known. Who knows? But lots of chocolate. There is a touch of vanilla in there, believe it or not. I know this doesn't come from oak barrels, but do get a little bit of that vanilla, the traditional roasted caramel, burnt chocolate sort of, roasted malt smell in there. I really like the way this one smells, to be honest with you. I'm just going to go ahead and try it. A lot of peat on the mouth. So what you can't really pick up on the nose really comes across on the tongue. I am getting a little bit of that smoky character that you get from peat, and usually what they'll do is they take the grains, they lay them out on the floors, they smoke them, and that's what they use to distill their scotch. So I am getting that, and I'm positive that that's coming from the barrels. I don't think that they've actually smoked anything in the actual beer, but this is really good. I mean, I thought it would be good, and it really is good. And it's a perfect bottle for one person. It's, I don't know what, maybe a 12-ounce bottle, maybe a little bit less, who knows. I didn't have any show on here, but it's about a 12-ounce bottle. Boy, I mean, it's still just sticking to my mouth. I actually have a little bit on my lips, and it's, boy, this is good. This really reminds me a lot of the Goose Island Bourbon County Stout, but where the Goose Island Bourbon County Stout is really meant to be, kind of an envelope pusher in terms of alcohol and just the sheer amount of barrel that comes out of that. The bourbon smell on that is just, I mean, it's explosive. This is a lot more subtle. I think really in terms of a balanced beer, this is up there with some of the best that I've had. This is really nice. I think this would be a good gift for somebody who maybe likes scotch, maybe is open to drinking stouts. I think this would hit all of their senses really nicely. One thing that I do want to point out as well, I kind of thought about that as I was taking my last sip, is that this brewery is actually relatively new. It's only been around since like 1985, so I think it's a pretty solid beer. I don't know that they make many other beers. I know they have like their engine oil, and they have this selection of these imperial stouts. Is it an imperial stout? It's an imperial stout. But I'll tell you what, man, I'm liking this one. This is a good sipper. I mean, the mouthfeel is just perfect. It's not too bitter. It's not too roasty. I don't get hardly any alcohol burn at all. I guess I figured that I would, but I really don't. The aromatics are really nice. I just think all around it's just a really solid stout. So, don't know what else to say. I'll be curious to try the 12 and the 30 though, just to kind of see how they, compare to this one. But anyway, just wanted to go ahead and stop here, I guess, and thank you for coming back to another session of The Hopry. Please go to my website, www.thehopry.com. Leave me a comment, and we'll start some conversations. So anyway, my name is Mark Starr, and thanks a lot. Bye-bye.